do you outsource? One of the big questions that people ask, and something that sounds like it should be simple. You have a job that you need doing, you find someone to do it, they do it. But in reality, there are a few little extra components that need to be put in place before that 3-step process can take place to make sure that you're actually getting the best out of your outsourcing. And that's what I wanted to discuss on this episode today. Outsourcing can feel, or should feel, like a secret weapon for scaling your business. And it could be also the fastest way to completely waste your money if you get it wrong. So I want to give some strategies and a little bit of advice that I've picked up over the years that actually works, the mistakes to avoid, and how to build relationships with your outsourcing team that's going to last. So a little bit about me. When I first started outsourcing, I thought I had to do everything myself because no one else is going to do it the same way that I would. And that was wrong of me. It took a few trial and error moments. I'm still trialing and error momenting at the moment of what I should let go of first, how to set my systems up properly. So if you're a parent running a business, or you're a coach trying to scale your business without burning yourself out, this is hopefully going to be your shortcut to outsourcing smarter, not stupider. That's not a word, but we're going with it. So some of the common mistakes on outsourcing are hiring reactively instead of strategically. What do I mean by that? Hiring reactively is basically waiting until you are knee deep in the trenches, you're knee deep in shit in your business, and you suddenly think, oh my Christ, I need to get someone on board straight away. And you panic and you expect a VA to jump on board straight away, read your mind, and you don't give any clear directions. There's no documenting processes early on. You haven't really thought about it. You just know that you need some help and you need it now. I had a client that did this with me. So working as a VA, I had a client recently actually that I had a discovery call with. Actually, I won't say client because we didn't get to that point, but because I turned him down, and I turned him down for this reason. We had a discovery call and he was quite sort of, I wouldn't say rude on the call, but I got a bit of a weird vibe from him on the call. And he was very much like, I need this done, I need this done, I need this done. And then when I started to probe a little bit further, why does he need it doing? What is he trying to gain from this? What does he want to end up with eventually? He didn't know. He knew he needed these things doing, but he didn't know what the end goal was. He didn't know why he needed these things doing. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't really know how to help you if you don't really know what it is that you're wanting. And I thought maybe I'll give it a bit of a, we'll do a trial, see how it goes. Then he ghosted me completely. He'd agreed to work with me, signed the contract, ghosted me. And I started thinking, okay, you were going to send me some stuff over that I could review, and I could go through some of the processes with you, and we could maybe, take it from there. And you've done nothing. You've sent me none of these things over that you were going to send me. Then about 3 weeks later, 70 emails come through, all from him. Boom, there's the information that I need. And I'm like, I've forgotten what we were talking about on the call because you've ghosted me for 3 weeks. Like, I don't know what these emails are. What are you sending me? I don't know what's going on here. So I contacted him. I was like, I think we maybe need to have a bit of a catch-up call, a bit of a refresh, see what's going on here. Ghosted me again. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. I am not playing this game. So that's what I mean by reactive hiring. He obviously needed some help, but he had no process in place on how to get that help. And then when he did get that help, it just caused so much friction and so many issues because I can't work with someone if they aren't giving me the information that I need to work with them effectively. So that's reactive hiring. Yeah, we basically just ended up with like mismatched expectations, no boundaries, and it just didn't work. It wasn't going to work. You need a framework for determining what to outsource first. So this is going to be your framework. It's very easy. Write down every task you do in a week. yourself. Highlight only what you can do. What is your zone of genius? What are the things that no one else in your business can do? Circle everything that is draining, repetitive, you can't stand doing, admin heavy, time sucking, it's taking you away from your family. That's your outsourcing starting point. Those circled items are what can be outsourced. They're things that you don't love. They are things that are taking you away from other areas of your business, or they're things that you just don't like. They're causing you a stress. So for me, I was outsourcing for my own time, basically. I needed some more time, especially during the 6-week holidays. I needed some space to breathe, and I had my little boy, Jacob, with me 24 hours a day. It was just not feasible for me to manage my client load during the 6 weeks on my own. So I needed to bring a couple of people on, actually, that all had their own zones of geniuses that I could outsource different elements to. So some of them were helping me with client works. I've just recently set up a new CRM system in my own business. So I've brought on someone. I could do it myself, but I just can't be bothered. I don't want to do it myself. I sent him everything I needed over. That was it. Done. He's still working on that for me. That's kind of like an ongoing thing. So these are things that we are working on together. And I've got a nice little team now underneath me that are doing things for me. Some are working on my business. Others are helping me with client work, which is great. Frees up my time so that I've got more time to be with my kids. Once you've decided that you're going to outsource, the next question I suppose a lot of people have is, how do you find the right person to outsource to? There's a bit of a misconception on that the VA world is oversaturated. To a certain extent, I suppose you could say that that's true. There are thousands of VAs out there now. But there are VAs that specialize in different things, have different abilities, different zones of genius. They have different qualifications. Some are doing it full time, like me. Some do it as kind of they may have another job on the go, and this is just a part-time thing for them. And then there are others that are ICO registered in the UK. They've got all of their business insurance, and then there are some that don't. I'm not saying those are bad. I'm just saying that, you may need to have someone that's a little bit more set up with these things and someone that isn't. So how can you find the best VA or the best service provider for your business? I suppose the first thing I would say is look for someone that you can relate to. Do they align with your business values? Do they communicate well? There's no point working with someone if when you get on that call, like I did with the client A that I was talking about, there's no point having a relationship or trying to build on a relationship if you get that immediate sort of gut pull, I suppose, that, I don't really like this person. I don't know why I don't like this person, but there's something not clicking. Something's not working here for me. Don't try and force it. Don't force that relationship. If that relationship is not there to begin with, it's just going to cost you more time. It's just going to cost you more energy trying to fix that relationship. So find someone that you feel like you can connect with. That's the first thing. Have a budget in mind. Now, I say have a budget in mind because the VA world is like this in terms of, people charging rates. I'm always upfront with people on my rates. I charge £30 an hour for general VA work. I'm in the UK. I have to pay tax. I have to pay everything in terms of subscription. I pay business insurance. I'm ICO registered. I'm a member with memberships to verify my status as a VA in the UK. And to be honest, £30 isn't really cutting it. I'm actually looking at upping it. So that's kind of standard in the UK. 25 to 30 is sort of the flat minimum rate in the UK. I don't know about America. There are obviously outsourced, like offshore VAs in Thailand and Vietnam and things like that are pennies per hour. I don't agree with that. I think that they should be charging exactly the same as what we do in the UK. Just because they're offshore doesn't mean that they're worth any less and that their quality of work is any less. I feel like they should be charging a lot more than they do, but I appreciate their cost of living is a lot less than ours is in the UK. Having said that, though, about some of the offshore VAs, I have heard some are fantastic. Some I've heard some horror stories from because they are cheap and they don't have the same regulations as we do over here. So they don't have insurances. They aren't covered by any like memberships or governing bodies. And what's the saying? You pay cheap, you buy twice, essentially. And sometimes it actually works out more expensive hiring a cheaper VA than someone at £30 an hour, because you've paid for this block of time. You pay for 10 hours worth at £5 an hour, $5 an hour, and you realise that their work is poor. They end up getting you in trouble legally because they're not covered by certain things. They may do something in your business that they weren't supposed to do, and all of a sudden you've had to fork out this money and you still haven't had the work done. So you end up then needing to get a UK VA or a US-based VA at the higher rate, but you've already paid for this cheaper rate. So you've ended up paying twice. So you may as well have just stuck with the one that you wanted in the first place, that you originally thought was a high rate hourly. So I say in my head, have a budget, because if you're budgeting £10 an hour, you need to be prepared that the majority of UK VAs are going to come in at 25 minimum per hour. And that's minimum. So if you're really, really set on £10 an hour, you're not going to get a UK VA for £10 an hour. You need to be prepared for that, and you need to be prepared for double checking your legalities on hiring offshore. What's the quality of work like? I can't obviously quote on what they're like in terms of quality and things like that. That's something that you need to factor in. Are you willing to take that risk, essentially? Or is it just going to be better just to increase your hourly rate to the minimum for a UK VA and just have someone that is covered by all of these memberships and ICO registered and business insurance and stuff like that? What would be some red flags? So for me, when I was outsourcing and things that I've come across online that have kind of gone, what's going on? So a few red flags. There are a lot of scams out there in the VA world, a lot of scams. Initial red flags would be vague or poorly written proposals, poor communication. Say, for example, you're looking for someone to write blog posts or social media posts or create captions, things like that. And they send you an email and there's a million misspellings on there. Or you can tell that their English might not be their first language, for example. That is a red flag, because obviously you can't rely on them to then provide the best blog post if they can't even do it in an email. So a vague proposal, again, I'm very upfront with, like I say, £30 an hour, that's how much I charge. So if their proposal is vague and there's no pricing on there and they're trying to get you to do certain things before they actually give you a price, that's a red flag to me as well. Poor communication. I'm not saying that a VA is at your beck and call, because we are not, but saying that they're going to do one thing and then ghosting you as a potential client, not great. That's a red flag. And them not having their own boundaries is also a red flag, because if they can't give you their boundaries, how are you going to know what that working relationship is going to be? If you need someone in your business between the hours of 12 and 4, for example, that's your working window, but they are offshore and they are only available 2 o'clock in the morning our time because their time zone is completely different, that's a red flag. So you need to think about that as well in terms of offshore VAs. What's the time difference? Is it going to work with them being up at hour 2 o'clock in the morning for you? Or do you really need someone online at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, UK British Standard Time? That's another thing to take into consideration. I suppose one of my best hires probably wasn't my cheapest, but she understood my business inside and out. And overall, that saved me money in the long run, even though financially it cost me money up front for her, but it saved me money in the long run. How can we set up successful relationships? So again, this goes back to the very first contact you make with a VA. You need to have clear onboarding processes in your business. They also need to have onboarding processes in their business. When I bring on a client, I've literally just said it then, client doesn't bring me into their business. I'm bringing a client into my business. So I onboard a client into my business. They also onboard me into their business as well. They'll introduce me to team members. They'll set me up with an email address if I need it. They'll, set me up on systems if I need it, things like that. But we are onboarding each other into each other's businesses. It's my contract that I send. It's not their contract that I sign. It's my contract that they sign. If they've got SOPs I need to follow, then they will send those SOPs over to me. If they don't have them, I can set them up on project management systems so that we can communicate. So things like Slack or ClickUp or Notion or Rella for social media management, which is the social. I'm going to go into Rella on another video, by the way. So that's, things that I do in my business for them. So I've got my own onboarding processes. You need to have your own onboarding processes as well in order to have a successful relationship, and that needs to be from the get-go. There should be regular check-ins and feedback between the two of you. So this is something I would discuss on your onboarding call. How often do you want to have check-ins? If you're happy having a monthly check-in, that's fine. But if you would prefer, a quick 5-minute email every day, that's also okay. But do not say to a VA, I don't need check-ins, and then moan when they don't check in with you. Or don't expect a VA to be able to read your mind when you say to them, I don't really mind whenever you want to check in. So they check in once a month with you because you haven't specified that. But then you moan because they didn't check in with you every day or week, because that's what you were expecting even though you didn't tell them. If you're expecting something, you need to have that discussion with them on the onboarding call. Otherwise, it's not going to get done. Trust building. So building trust with the VA is an ongoing thing. And I always say that it is something that's going to take time between both of you. They need to have trust in your business, that you have trust in them. Same as you need to have trust in them to look after your business and help it function. So there needs to be that back and forth between the two of you. I would say start small, expand the responsibilities. The best thing to do, or the way that I've found the best from my clients, is that they don't brain dump on me all in one go. They won't say to me, right, I need this doing, this doing, this doing, this doing, this doing, this doing, and this doing. Here it is. What they'll do is these are the 2 most important tasks that I need taken care of. Okay, I'll take those 2 tasks. I deal with those 2 tasks. If it's an ongoing thing, those 2 tasks, once I've got in the flow of it and the client is happy with it, what they'll do then is they'll say, okay, the next task I've got for you is this. Can we bump that onto those 2 tasks? So you've now got 3 tasks. Yeah, of course I can. It works better doing it that way than it does to go, I've got 12 tasks for you. I need them done by next week. See how that kind of works? So from the VA perspective, when a client gives me clear systems, trusts me, I'm going to perform at my best for that client. I'm not saying I'm going to perform worse for any other client, but I am going to function better having that ongoing relationship with a good client that communicates well with me and trusts me. Micromanagement is going to kill your relationship with a VA. That's not what we are here for. You need to get out of the mindset that we are an employee. We're not an employee. We work with you. We do not work for you. There is a difference. And once you get that kind of into your head, you're going to have a much better relationship with the VA. Outsourcing isn't about giving away control in your business. It's about gaining capacity or gaining time or gaining growth in your business. Start small, learn how to outsource effectively, because if you do cock it up, it's going to fall. The dominoes will fall if you do not know how to outsource effectively. Once you start outsourcing, you can start to scale your outsourcing. So there is absolutely nothing stopping you. Another red flag, actually, this goes back to the red flag thing. Please do not advertise as, we are looking for a unicorn VA. The word unicorn VA to me is a massive flag. If I see unicorn VA written anywhere on a job description for someone looking for a VA, I'm like, nope, I'm out of there. I'm not applying for that. Unicorn VA to me screams that you do not know what you need to outsource. You are looking for someone to come into your business and take over multiple aspects of your business, because you do not know what to outsource, or you're expecting too much. You're wanting one man to do an entire team's worth of work. That is what unicorn says to me. You may have I classify myself as a unicorn VA because I do social media, I do podcast management, and I do general VA work as well. But I still would not apply to a job that's looking for a unicorn VA, because just no, stop using that term. Just as a little piece of advice for you. So yeah, learn how to outsource properly as your business grows. And if you get the outsourcing right and the relationship right, outsourcing isn't just going to save you time. It's going to buy back your energy so that you can focus on stuff that actually matters in your business or grows your business or develops your business. If today's episode got you thinking about what you could outsource, I would love to hear from you. If you do have any questions about outsourcing, send me a DM. There's a link in the bio, there's a link in the notes to my free £10 tasks challenge, which is basically just a little questionnaire on how much money you could save just from £10 tasks. So that's in the link as well. Download that. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because next week I'm going to be covering some of the tools that I use in my VA business and why I use them. And hopefully it will show you how we can work together and how VAs work with you. Hopefully see you next week.